Hello, my name is Gary Peter and I'm going to talk a little bit about contractor management with Novacura Flow. Contractor management with Novacura Flow is a solution that we have developed by request from one of our customers. This customer works with many contractors and they were facing several difficulties surrounding the administration of their contractors and more precisely the actual work times of the contractors and the administration of these. And the key issues that our customer was experiencing were three. The first of which being hidden costs. And when I say hidden costs, it means more that they felt that they didn't have enough control of the actual work times of the contractors. Every time transaction was being done by manual time banknotes. A manual time banknote is a piece of paper handed in by the contractor at the end of the workday, stating which work orders they have worked on and for how long. In a perfect world, this time banknote is handed in at the end of every shift and administrated perfectly. However, the reality we live in is not always like this. Many times they pile up. It can take weeks until the time banknotes are even handed in, rendering it very difficult to see if the time stated on them is actually correct. Because also the more contractors you have to keep track of, the greater the uncertainty becomes. And our client wanted a solution that registers work being done in real time, preferably to their ERP system. The second issue that they were having was the time-consuming purchasing process. The reason that this was very time-consuming is because of these time banknotes. First of all, they wanted to get rid of these because each time banknote has to be manually administrated in hindsight and approved by a work leader. And if these have piled up, it creates a big burden of administration at the end of the month. A third problem was the safety issue. When they contacted us, there was no way to see which contractors were currently in their factory at any given time of day, which is quite dangerous from a safety aspect of things. So they wanted some way to see which contractors are present at any given time of the day. But how do you find a solution to all these three key issues? Well, what we did was create the workflow for the contractors. This workflow creates automatic transactions towards the customer's ERP system whenever a clock-in or clock-out is being made by an entrepreneur or contractor. That means immediate operation clockings connected to a work order into your ERP system immediately. All your manual administration is gone. It also creates a tool for real-time supervision of contractors that are present at the factory at a given time of the day. This supervision is based on the clock-in times, and if there is no end time on this clocking, it most likely means that work is still ongoing, and you can see on which work order, as I will show you later, and by this you can easily see if a person is in your factory or not, which creates a great tool for supervising. We created also a second workflow for employees and work leaders. This workflow reduced administration by a lot and improved their billing processes and reduced the administration backlog that the manual banknotes, time banknotes create. I will not go into depth into this workflow at the moment, but if you would like to know more about it, please do not hesitate to contact Novacura. Now I will talk a little bit more in depth about the workflow for contractors and show you exactly how it works. It looks a little bit like this. that you have a clock-in screen where your contractor arrives and clocks in and out with their unique given ID. So if I clock in here, I get a list of my standard vendor, Novacura AB in this case. If you work for several vendors for some case, you can press no here and you get a list of available vendors that you are eligible to work for. But in most cases, you only work for one. We continue down the workflow and we get a list of current work orders that we are entitled to register time on. In this case, we have two work orders, 202161 and 162. And we can see some various information regarding them, and who was the requisitioner, the name of the work order, etc., etc. There is also a filter function here in case you have a large list of work orders currently active. Then you can just filter out any given work order you know that you're working with, select it, continue, and the transaction has now been made into your ERP system as this clock-in was made. And I'm going to show you just that right now. Your ERP system, in this case, this solution has been made for IFS, but we can do this for most available ERP systems today. If you are unsure about this, just contact us and we will let you know whether or not we have a competence with your precise ERP system. So in IFS now, if I search for work order 202162, which I clocked in on, I can now see that I am clocked in with a start time at 2nd of July 2015 at this precise clock time. I clocked in on this work order, and you can also see that there is no stop time here since work has only begun. And this transaction here was executed as soon as I clocked in the workflow, meaning immediate communication to your ERP system through the clockings. And the result of this is that the manual time banknotes become completely unnecessary because you get real-time transactions to your ERP system, saving time both for the contractors, for the work leaders, and for everyone else involved in the billing processes. But it's not enough to clock in on a work order. At the end of the day, you would also like to clock out. And that is done the following way. You just enter the exact same ID that you clocked in with. Continue. And you get this information text of the work order that you worked on and the time that you spent on it. In our case, it says you have 0 hours and 30 minutes to distribute. Clock in at 15:34, clock out at 15:36. The reason we now have 30 minutes and not 2 minutes is because we have created a kind of rounding system that rounds time up or down to whole or half hours depending on how much time you have worked, to avoid like billing 1 hour and 43 minutes, for example. But this is naturally customizable, and you can do exactly how you want with this, but I just wanted to explain this in case you get confused about the 30 minutes that's there. And one more thing I should mention is that all text that you can see here is completely customizable. If you want to show something else here, it's perfectly fine. Everything in Novacura Flow is always customizable. I can also leave a comment here, like, for example, work done. I only worked for 2 minutes, so I clock out by pressing next. You are clocked out. And what has then happened in our ERP system, we return to that screen and refresh it. You see that there is now a stop time at 15:36:35, exactly like it said in the Novacura Flow. There is a comment, work done, and you can see the time that you worked half an hour here. This was the name of the work order, this was the work order number, and yeah, all of these transactions were made now with Novacura Flow. So this is basically what the Flow Contractor Management is all about. If you have any further questions about this, or if you found the solution to be interesting for your company or factory, just contact us and we will explain to you more in detail what you can accomplish with Novacura Flow for your contractor management.